One of the ways I manage my classroom is through the use of hand signals, and that gives everyone an opportunity to respond, not just one at a time. But this is American Sign Language for yes, and this is no, and then they can use their fingers to show me an answer that would require a number.
Gretchen launches the unit on sampling and making predictions by having the students brainstorm. The students work in groups of 4, discussing sampling. She uses the class journal to record the students' ideas. The class journal will be revisited at the end of the unit.
Our group thought that a sample was something you can go to the store and try, and then if you like it, you can buy the whole thing.
After launching the unit, Gretchen completed Activity 1. How typical is a sample?
When we were doing this, and we called 4 students to come up as a sample of how many people would have right thumbs on top and how many would have left thumbs on top. What did we learn when we did that?
Now, Gretchen begins Step 1 of Activity 2. Are all samples the same? Gretchen has students offer estimates of the average number of pets in a household.
How many think 2 would be a typical number? Okay, and let's just start off here and look around. Count on. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Notice how all the students have an opportunity to participate without using a lot of class time.
18, 19.
Great.
To start Step 2 of the Quest 2000 process, the students work together to decide how to sample and who to sample.
So you have to decide who you're going to sample. And the next thing I want you to do is describe your sample. How will you choose them? So what I'm going to do is stop right here, and I'm going to give you a few minutes to discuss those 2 things and come up with a decision as your group. And then we will actually go ahead and do the survey once you have those questions answered, okay?
Okay, now what we gotta do is, what is the average? Like, how many certain people? How many people? How about out of the whole class? Let's say 5. Okay, you say 5.
About a 6th of the class.
It's about a 1/6 of the class. What do you mean by that? 5 times 6 is 30, and there's about 30 people in the class. Okay, and that'd be a good sample. Let's listen to see how each group will be doing their survey to see if it will work, if we can have everybody surveying at the same time. Let's start with this group right here. Group leader.
We said that we would choose around 5 to 7 people out of our class and count off by 7, and every 7th person would be a part of our survey.
Okay, will you be able to do that while everybody else is surveying?
No, we did it in our group, though.
So you already did that? You found out who those people are?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Right, so the actual question is how many?
Gretchen encourages discussion and questioning, using the opportunity to clarify student thinking.
Have. Is that going to be understood by everybody?
But wouldn't you need more people for that? Because you might only get one of each thing, and then you probably won't have a good idea of the whole class. So you'd probably need more people for that.
What do you mean one of each thing?
One of each pet.
Okay, look at our question here. Are we going to find the average number of cats or the average number of dogs? What are we going to find the average number of? Pets. So we don't need to make a graph that's real specific like we've done before.
Next, the students survey their sample of the population.
Leo had 20 pets. That's
You
what
might
I
want
want
to ask him what he's counting. That seems like a high number compared to the other people.
Yeah.
That makes me
He
curious.
must have chicken or something.
Huh? How many pets? 3.
After gathering data and determining the mean for their sample, each group shares their results.
5.1.
5.1. Thank you. Group 4.
0.4.
1.4. What do you think about the samples you took?
I think I know why most of them were so high up.
Okay.
Like the ones on where it said 5 remainder 2 and 6.25 and 4 and 5.1 and 4.4. It was because maybe most of them picked Leo.
Okay,
because
let's look at this here. Okay, these are higher than these samples, and you're making a
Yeah.
inference that they have the same person in their sample.
Yeah, because Leo, he had 20 pets, and that brings it up a lot.
And then as a class, we gathered all the data for the actual number of pets that the students have, and we found the mean number of pets the actual population had. Angela, would you explain for us what you did?
I gathered how many pets we had, and I took this and I put how many students have 0 pets, which are 0 times 0 times 0, 7 times, which is how we got these to equal our total number, 72. And then we had 27 people in our classroom, so I divided 27 into 72. And I got confused when the calculator said 6 times, and then I knew it was 2 with remainder.
Very nice,
6.
Angela.
The class mean is then compared to the means of the samples to evaluate the sampling methods.
Looking at your sample mean that you came up with when your group decided your own sample and surveyed those people, I'd like you to compare what your sample mean was to what the actual class mean of 2.6 is. How close were you, or how far off were you? Close. How many of you were pretty close? How many of you were far off? And some of them came up with very close answers, and some of them were pretty far off, but they all seemed to understand why they were off and what they would do next time to pick a better sample, a more representative sample. The next day we continued sampling by using the student book, and they selected one of the questions that they liked the best. Okay, would you read that question for us?
How many hours of TV do you watch in a typical day?
Were you curious about that?
In step 3 of the Quest 2000 process, the students reflect on whether all samples are good samples.
What are some observations that you made? Are all samples good samples? If they're not, then how do you make it a better sample? What would you do to make a better prediction? Chris?
You could get more people and then ask different people.
Okay, make sure you get a lot or enough people and they're different people.
I know when you choose a sample, it should be random and representative.
What do you mean by that? Random and representative of
What I mean
What
by-
kind of sample are you talking about?
Like if you take if you do a survey question, when you pick the people, it should be random, and you want it to be representative. So if you just say, if you pick someone that you know, that would probably not be representative because you already know what they're going to pick.
Do you think that all samples are the same? Are some samples better predictors than other samples? Okay. what we finally discussed was that sampling is unpredictable, just like some other activities that we've done earlier this year with probability. Sampling is another form of probability, and that it's not always going to give you the actual result, but it could be a good indicator.
As you watched Gretchen Gaither work with her class, you probably noticed many similarities with the way you already teach. Key differences you might have observed include using more open-ended questions to increase class discussion and find out what students are thinking, and actively engaging students in a mathematical situation.
At the end of the unit, I think that the students learned from the culminating work that sampling can be very useful in predicting what an actual population looks like, but it is limited.